It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show. Today's date is the 8th of January. This is the C block, the Charlie block, which means we started right at 7:40, but we're at 7:46 right now, so we're a little bit late. Is it time for my phone call, John? Can I make the phone call right now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and call it. And you're going to ask her what the partisan makeup of these speakers at this women's event are, right?
You're really getting into that, huh? Aren't you? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she clearly isn't going to invite any Republicans unless you ask her, Brad. So why don't you go ahead and ask her that?
We'll find out, okay? There's one ring.
Hello?
Nina, how you doing this morning? This is Brad.
I'm good.
We go way back, and I mentioned the fact that you are involved with this event coming up in January. Can I give you a little bit of background of what your interest is? You're very politically motivated. And by the way, if we have just a minute at the end of our conversation, we'll talk KDHX for a minute. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. Tell us what you're doing and why this is important for you.
Great. Well, for 23 years, the Shear Institute for Women in Public Life at UMSL trained women and students how to run for office. This terrific nonpartisan program attracted women throughout the state and trained them in leadership and to run for offices ranging from school board to municipal councils, the state rep, and more. The program sadly shuttered in 2019, but I saw this program as capacity building and felt strongly that it needed to be replaced. Women needed a comprehensive training program to learn all the logistics and skills of running and winning office.
Now, this is for women only, though, correct?
Correct. And there's a big reason why. Although women represent 50% of the population, they're grossly underrepresented in all levels of government, except school boards. But the big issue is that men are more likely to get the suggestion to run for office, and they have for their entire lives received messages that suggest they're qualified. Women don't get this message. Until we can really close this recruitment gap, we're not going to get anywhere. We've seen that recruitment works because when Democrats and Republicans recruit women to run, a record number win. But it can't just be about Congress. There are 500,000 elected offices in this country.
But do you really think that's the way it is today? I think the women's movement, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example, Nina. My mom was in education, and she lamented the fact that she could never be more than a department chairperson. And now you have the educational system, which in a lot of districts is totally run by women. Do you think that it's not that case in politics, that women can't say, hey, I could be a school board member or a rep or something like that?
Well, it's true. In school boards, women are reasonably represented. They're probably 58 or 59%, but it's not the case in other kinds of government. And a lot of it, they don't have the training. They don't necessarily know the contact management skills, the fundraising, how to do the messaging. And they really do need the training. There is a difference. Now,
this event you're putting on is at the end of this month, the 30th, the 31st, I believe?
Right, at Lindenwood University. Mm-hmm.
Now, are there a group of, can you give us some ideas of the various speakers and what they're going to be talking about?
Sure. We have a school board member, a professor specializing in negotiation and business psychology, a Missouri House rep, 2 former House reps and former senators, 2 Alderwomen, a communication expert, fundraising professional, media training expert, social media professor. As far as specifics, actually, one of St. Charles' own, Wendy Hausman, is going to be participating. But there's also Jill Shoup, Daniela Velazquez, Jamie Antwi Cox. I mean, I got a long list.
Now,
we got 14 speakers.
And it's nonpartisan. So in other words, this is for both Republican and Democratic. I guess as independents as well, too, if you're libertarian as well. It's just open for anybody who wants to run for any office in any political stripe, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. This program is how to steps, logistics of running. It absolutely will not cover any issues or policy. The focus is on the skills. Communication, team building, finance, fundraising, volunteer management, field operations, voter strategies, media. We really believe women should be in the room where it happens. Whatever their party affiliation is, You'll get more done with women there.
Now, I'm going to ask you something, Nina. Don't be, Nina, can I tell you something? I have two people in my life. I have Nina and I have Nina. I have Nina D'Angelo, who's used to be in the O'Fallon Chamber of Commerce, and I have Nina Needleman. So if I call you Nina, I'm getting the wrong person. So Nina, I'm going to ask you a nosy question, and don't get mad at me when I ask this, but you sent me this a couple weeks back, and I contacted you and say, hey, I'd like to be a speaker. And you said, no, because I'm a man. Wasn't that essentially what it was?
That is true.
At least you admit it.
And there's a reason for this. It's psychology. Women have this imposter syndrome thing. They think they're not good enough. And they need confidence, and they need to be heard, and they need to be encouraged. They need swagger. They need to realize they are good enough, and their voice is important. They have to be heard.
So you don't think I could give those encouragements?
I do think you could, but I think it might be more meaningful to them to hear it from a woman.
Hey, Brad, I have a question for Nina.
John, I have to tell you, Nina, John is on. We have some technical issues, and you can't hear him, so he's going to ask me a question, and I was going to ask it to you. Is that okay? So I'm going to have to be like the interpreter. So go ahead, John.
It sounds great that she has a communications expert and a fundraising expert. Who actually is speaking there on the communication side and on the fundraising side?
John wants to know who's speaking on the communication side and the fundraising side.
Okay, on the communication side, we have two people. We have Daniela Velazquez, who's going to talk about
she's an Alderwoman,
media training. She's a former VP of Fleischman Hillard, former communication director in another place. On social media training, we have Dr. Leilani Carver-Madeline, who's the communication chair at Maryville University.
Interesting. Now, tell us how, if women are out there listening right now, and it's only women, if you're a man, you can't go to this. If you're a woman listening right now, how do you sign up, and is there a cost involved?
I'm going to send you a QR code that you can post on the website, or they can go to Rise and Run at lindenwood.edu, and the first 50 registrants are free with the code Rise and Run 26. So it's important you register as soon as possible, and beyond the 50, the registrants will be charged the pilot course rate of $50.
And Brad, can you ask? You didn't give her time to answer the fundraising question. Who's doing the fundraising session?
And who's doing the fundraising side of it, Nina?
Lindenwood and me.
Oh, you're doing the fundraising, and I know your background. You're a former financial advisor, so you do know quite a bit about finances.
Yep. Reasonable amount.
Yeah, that was supposed to be a compliment. Okay, Nina.
Thank you.
One last thing.
Nina.
Did I say? I'm sorry. This is so weird.
This is a disaster.
Because I saw her the other day. I saw Nina the other day, and I called her Nina. So I've got Nina on the phone, and I call her Nina. Okay. So, one last question for you. You are a long time, at least you were, contributor to KDHX. What the hell happened?
Oh, gosh. I don't think you have enough time on the air to cover it. It's a long story. There was a series of management issues. The former ED, Beverly, did some financial mismoves, and they put in an interim executive who didn't really have experience, and a board that didn't have experience, and it was sort of a domino of negative things.
Well, you and I, sometimes, what's interesting? Sometimes I'm doing some podcasts from time to time. Would you do a podcast with me on that, on the KDHX thing? Because I know you and some of your family members were fairly large contributors to KDHX for a long time. And I believe one of your family members was a musician and very, very heavily involved in the local music scene. Wasn't that the case? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah. My ex-husband was a musician.
Right. So I'd love to talk to you about this because my opinion, it was a scam. My opinion is what they did was they pulled off the biggest heist of money under the auspices of, we have to declare bankruptcy. We don't have any money. Now they're sitting on $6.75 million. You know what I'm saying, Nina?
It's a mess. It was such a community gem. But, you know what? There's a lot of smart people involved in building another radio station, and they're going to be broadcasting online probably later this month. So stay tuned for a new community radio organization.
And you and I will talk about that at a future point in time, and I'm more than happy to help promote that event as well too, and promote their what they're doing with the online thing. Nina, thank you very much. Nina, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Have a good one.
Okay, thanks, Brad. Appreciate you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, John, what do you think?
She's your friend, so I'm not going to say anything critical. If you had built one of your AI voices to read a script, I wouldn't have been able to tell it from the first 120 seconds of the show. By the way, I love the fact that, God bless her, Nina is doing the fundraising session when we have incredibly talented women in the St. Louis area and in the Jeff City area who are incredibly talented and accomplished fundraisers who, for a simple ask, would probably share their real-time, real-world experience with call time, fundraising, donor recruitment and development. But instead, Nina used to do some work in finance, so she's going to handle fundraising. I'm not going to be critical of her, though, Brad. She's your friend. By the way, the Shear Institute has pushed through, to be fair, a lot of women, both Republicans and Democrats, that have taken part in a meaningful way in the political realm. So it is fair to give the old Shear Institute, which was great in the early 2000s, and the fact that there's some sort of a ghost of it that they're trying to resuscitate, I think, is admirable.
But see, John, I'll be honest with you. And Nina is my friend. I've known her a long time. And she's...
But you think it's ridiculous that an accomplished man can't speak on a topic just because you weren't born with a vag?
Yes, to be, well, you put it...
I agree with you. I agree with you, Brad.
You put it in somewhat of a... that's not the way I would present it, but yes.
Of course it's not.
And to the point where I think this is the exact... I've even said this to her. I think this is the exact thing that creates problems, is that you have discrimination of black people, and, be honest with you, they used to be slaves, and then we freed them from slaves, and things have gotten much better. In my lifespan, I'm an old guy, in my lifespan, things have dramatically changed for both so many different minorities, specifically the black people, so many different women. I tell the story of my mom being the disenfranchised woman who complained that in education she can never be anything more than a department chairperson. Things have changed, and I think that's in the rearview mirror. And I think that anytime you have a black congressional caucus or a woman's only event, I think it's wrong. And the flip side of that...
I get what you're saying. And to play devil's advocate, I think that you could have... I mean, I guess my frustration, and I have no chit, C-H-I-T, invested in this, so I'm just sitting in the cheap seats throwing popcorn here. But I think that Nina, not to be confused with Nina, could have probably developed if she had, reached out to some men who have an idea about politics, she could have gotten some good suggestions for strong female leaders. I think it's great that she's having Wendy Hausman there. I think that's a great find. From what I understand, Daniela Velazquez, who's an alderwoman in St. Louis City, is a top-notch talent, and I'm sure that she would do a great job. But I would just imagine that there's probably some slots that could be filled. But again, I'm being overly critical. It's not my event. She clearly doesn't want you there. And somehow you're doing her, for God knows what reason, you're doing her a favor by giving her time on this show.
Because of the fact I agree with what she's trying to do. I mean, John, you make fun of me all the time. I am the guy you don't know behind the scenes of some of the stuff of my business career. I have worked to empower women. And matter of fact, God, I don't have enough time to talk about this.
You don't have enough time, Brad.
Do you have one more minute?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. I was in court on Monday, and my daughter is representing me in a case. It was really funny because I went and I was on the same floor as the Matthew Thornhill courtroom, and I took a picture of the Matthew.
Nice. You went by can I find this case is this a new case? Can I find it on CaseNet?
You probably can. Okay.
Okay.
So my daughter, and my daughter is an attorney. And there's a guy representing the other side of the case who was absolutely positively clueless as to what was going on, to the point where when the judge, read the docket and brought up my case, and my daughter, signified that she was there, and the judge, who by the way is a woman, asked what the status of the case was, and the male attorney said, "We're ready for trial." And my daughter looked at him like, Ready for trial? We haven't even done discovery. So the guy was like clueless, okay? So as we're walking out of the courtroom, I say to my daughter, I go, what the hell was that? And she says, he has no idea what he's talking about. So this is my daughter, a woman who is on top of this, against a guy who is clueless. He's probably just like some higher schlub attorney who's showed up for the hearing and stuff like that. And as we're walking down the hall or walking down the street, I parked way down the street. I'm doing my 10,000 steps. I talked with my daughter, had a good conversation with her. And I said to her, you know, I really raised you to be an independent woman. And she says, you did. And I am. And I thought so proud of that moment because of the fact that I get it. She's an attorney, and I think I told the story that when I went through, when she graduated from WashU on the very first day of her law school. Not very first day, but we had
You took a tour at the WashU Law School,
right? And the woman who was giving us the tour was a third year, an L3, a 3L, whatever they call them. And essentially, she stopped the tour and she said, "Women, there was husbands and wives there. You ladies, I want you to know that for the first time ever, the law school is 50-50 as far as men and women are concerned." And I thought to myself, God, that's so incredible because of the fact that it used to be, law was just dominated by men. So women have made so many strides. And I, be honest with you, I find it a little bit disingenuous with Nina. I've told her to her, well, not to her face, I told her on the phone. I think it's wrong that what they're doing with the women only. I just think it's wrong, but that's me. And you know what? You know why? You know why? You know how much I know about things?
How much, Brad?
Not much, John. Not much.
Well, Brad, I know that when someone shows up to that event in a dress, just waiting for someone to not show up so she can hop on stage, we know who it's going to be.
It's going to be me. Hi, I'm here to talk to you, ladies. We're going to have a wonderful time today.
Brad, I'd love to stay and chat, but I have to get in a Hoosier fight and then confuse two very dissimilar morning talk show hosts with each other.
Okay, John. It's been a blast. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you Friday.